Why does being chosen have to come with enduring soul-crushing pain, suffering, isolation, and deprivation? Why subject the supposedly chosen children to torture and abuse? Why the cruelty? These are not my words. They belong to an Zenither, a follower of this channel. She wrote to me with her heart wide open, and in doing so, she echoed a pain that thousands carry in silence. A question that many chosen ones ask themselves at some point. If I've been chosen, why does it hurt so much? Maybe you've asked that too. This video was born from that comment, but it's not just a response. It's a portal, an invitation to walk through the layers of your pain and see what lies beyond it. We're going to explore 3 spiritual pillars that might completely shift how you interpret your own story. And the last one will show you how to turn your pain into the greatest divine gift a human being can receive. Many awakened souls carry deep wounds, feelings of abandonment, cruelty, and isolation. If that resonates with your story, this video could mark the beginning of a new understanding. And if you already feel that your pain has been a portal to something greater, share it in the comments. My pain is my awakening. The pain energy of the chosen ones, a consciousness catalyst, not a punishment. Many people who feel cursed by life don't realize they're actually living the beginning of a deeper calling. What seems like a sentence is, in fact, the start of a preparation. A difficult childhood, the trauma, the feeling of not belonging. These are recurring marks among the chosen ones. That doesn't mean pain is fair, but it may carry a purpose. In advanced spirituality, pain is not seen as punishment. It is the friction required to awaken consciousness, like fire that burns wood and turns it into light. Pain burns illusions and reveals what was hidden. When a chosen one suffers, they're being forced to break old molds and make room for higher awareness. Pain is the stage of collapse, and collapse is where everything is rebuilt. Being a chosen one doesn't mean having a light or comfortable life. It means carrying a deeper, greater mission. It means being called to expand consciousness, not just for yourself, but for the collective. This journey demands courage because it pulls you out of your comfort zone and puts you face to face with your shadow and with the light that is still waiting to be born within you. The greater the light someone carries, the denser the darkness they must walk through. And that journey is a solitary one. Chosen ones often feel isolated, misunderstood, even rejected. But it's in that silence that they find their own voice. In that emptiness, the soul begins to remember why it came here. You were not forgotten. You were summoned. Think about this. For a seed to break through its shell and bloom, it must go through the darkness of the earth before reaching the light. You went through what you did because the shell had to break, because your soul asked to blossom. And the more light you carry, the more resistance you attract. Your light disturbs dense systems. It shakes foundations, challenges patterns. And that's why you were pruned, silenced, diminished. Not because something is wrong with you, but because something is deeply right. And that truth, even when buried, never stopped pulsing inside you. The painful childhood of a chosen one is not a curse. It's a process, a field of vibrational preparation, a calling for you to learn how to sustain your light, even in the absence of support. Pain taught you how to light your own torch, how to become your own sun. When you understand that pain was your awakening, you no longer want to erase it. You want to transmute it. And that's what we begin to do now. Soul planning and free will interference. Before you were born, your soul knew exactly what it came here to do. The encounters, the challenges, even the deepest wounds. everything was chosen with purpose. That can be hard to hear, especially if you've been through abuse, trauma, and rejection. But it's this higher plan that explains why so many chosen ones face storms so early in life. Their souls came to heal ancestral patterns, recover forgotten wisdom, and break cycles that have lasted for generations. On a spiritual level, nothing happens by accident. There is a cosmic logic behind every event. The philosophy of nothing is coincidence reveals itself here in its rawest form. As it's written, "Judge not, neither the story of others nor your own. Judgment shuts down understanding, but consciousness opens paths to liberation." Seeing through the soul's eyes is what allows even the darkest moments to be redefined. Still, we must acknowledge a truth. The soul's plan is perfect, but the world it incarnates into is not. Earth is a place of uncontrolled free will. A soul may have chosen a specific family or certain challenges in order to awaken gifts and transform patterns. But it also collides with the unconsciousness of others, and that's where injustice is born. The abuse, the wounds that were never part of the original script, yet can still be healed. If you suffered in childhood, maybe you were the endpoint of an entire lineage of pain. Maybe by going through it, you brought a cycle to an end. That doesn't erase your pain, but it honors its meaning. You were chosen to set free what had been imprisoned for generations. And from you, new paths can now begin to grow. Your pain is not punishment. It is fertile soil. It prepared you to understand the suffering of others, to hold space with more empathy, to become someone who turns scars into healing. That's what old souls do when they awaken. They transmit wisdom through their own wounds. As I often say on this channel, what once looked like destruction may become the seed of liberation. And when that seed takes root, a new reality begins to emerge. A reality where you are the creator. You may not always find logic in the pains of your past, but when you begin to find purpose, everything aligns. You start to see yourself differently, with eyes of compassion, courage, and spiritual sovereignty. If you recognize these experiences from your childhood and now see their value, comment, "I lovingly acknowledge my story." Hidden marks in the childhood of the chosen ones. Many chosen ones carry silent signs of their mission from a very early age, but the world around them is rarely ready to recognize them. That's why these children are often seen as weird, troubled, or too sensitive. In truth, what they are is too intense for a world still vibrating at a low frequency. Among the most common signs reported by chosen ones are deep feelings of not belonging, as if they were placed in a reality they don't recognize as home. From a young age, they feel different, but can't quite explain why. And when they try, they're usually not taken seriously. Many recall having powerful intuitions during childhood. They sensed danger, knew when something felt off, could feel the energy of a room. But those perceptions were dismissed, ridiculed, or ignored. The result? The child begins to doubt their own feelings and disconnects from their inner compass. Invisible presences, vivid dreams, spiritual sensations, and unexplained phenomena are also common. Chosen ones tend to have an active connection with subtler dimensions. But that sensitivity is often repressed in the name of normality. Intuitive spirituality turns into a burden instead of a gift. And then there are the deep questions that arise early. What is death? Why does God allow suffering? Why am I here? Questions that adults often can't answer. But a chosen one asks them because somewhere deep in the soul, they already sense a higher calling waiting to be remembered. These marks aren't weaknesses. They're activation codes. They show that this soul came with an advanced spiritual structure, often originating from other star systems. As adults, these children tend to struggle with pain because they came from dimensions where such suffering no longer exists. And so, they're challenged early on, but also guided to awaken sooner than most. The reconnection with one's own mission is the beginning of true liberation. When you look back and realize that everything that hurt also shaped you, you begin to step out of the prison of victimhood and into the strength of being chosen. And that's exactly what we'll now explore more deeply: the purpose and higher meaning of the Chosen One's journey. They are old souls placed in young bodies, trying to remember who they truly are. That's the metaphor that precisely defines the path of the Chosen One. It's not about having all the answers. It's about remembering your origin in the midst of chaos. The journey begins confused, lonely, but little by little the soul starts to recognize itself beneath the pain. The true strength of the Chosen Ones is spiritual, not social. It's not about status or external recognition. It's about silent resilience, the power to rebuild, the gaze that remains steady after so many falls. They don't fit in because they came to create new molds. They came to break patterns, expand awareness, and spark transformation around them. They're here to provoke a revolution in the status quo. Every pain experienced is part of the process of detachment from the current system. When a Chosen One understands that pain was preparing them for something greater, they begin to release their identification with the Matrix. And that's the first step toward liberation. They start seeing the world more clearly, feeling the signs of the universe, and intuiting their next step with more confidence. They develop abilities that most people wouldn't even dream of having. With greater awareness, they more easily embrace greater responsibility, and they already carry benevolent intentions. They stop merely surviving and start serving. But this service is not submission. It is spiritual leadership. The Chosen One begins to use their own story as a bridge to help heal others, either directly or indirectly, simply by being an influence, a reference. Their scar becomes a compass for those still feeling lost. And in doing so, they generate more love within themselves, a love so deep that it reconnects them with the All. I'm talking about the process of unification and illumination. And when they reunite with the All, prosperity flows more effortlessly. Enlightenment stops being just a concept and becomes a state of being, and the outer chaos no longer pulls them away from the inner center, where their greatest power resides. The pain that once felt like a curse transforms into a disguised blessing, and in that moment, they finally understand. Life was never against them. It was always for them. Becoming one with the All is the most magnificent achievement a human being can attain. So, how do you do that? This video has introduced you to concepts about your experience that, if truly absorbed, reveal a possible path to transform suffering into strength. A possibility that only Chosen Ones who've lived through such hardship can activate. That gives you an immense advantage. Becoming one with the All becomes easier for you, thanks to your story. That's when pain turns into power, the fall becomes momentum, and darkness becomes a portal. The Chosen One is not defined by what they've endured, but by what they choose to do with it. And by turning that pain into a bridge for healing, they become a light in the world's darkest places. This is when your pain becomes the greatest divine gift a being can receive. If this content confirmed what you've long suspected and expanded your view of your mission as a Chosen One, leave a comment. I am stronger than anyone else. For those who comment with this phrase, I'll intuitively choose another video of mine to respond with. And maybe that video is exactly what your soul needs right now. Or maybe it's meant for someone else you're meant to guide. Not every message is about you. Sometimes it's through you. And if you want support and guidance on how to handle such a powerful gift, subscribe to this channel. It's made by a chosen one, for chosen ones. By becoming a subscriber, you'll be part of a community that is in constant evolution, seeking its highest point of consciousness, your zenith. And remember, you are not here to find a purpose. You are the purpose, experiencing itself. Thank you for watching, until the end. I hope to see you in the next video. A life of infinite possibilities awaits you.